Good evening. Today, my topic of discussion is about various developments and formats of the treatment of COVID 19 with regard to their latest status uh, globally. Since the pandemic has almost taken more than 6 months, and almost tens of millions people worldwide are uh, victims of the COVID 19, and lakhs of the people have died. So, the race for vaccine and race for therapeutics is at its peak. There are some news coming that Russia has successfully developed the vaccine with all trials and all that. And so are other news coming, some from China, some from UK, and some from America. And 1 or 2 months back, there was a breakthrough by Israeli Defense Minister that one monoclonal vaccine they have successfully tested. All that. So broadly, the traditional way of looking at the COVID-19 issue is that two sectors of treatment of this disease exist. One is the vaccine, other is therapeutics. Vaccine, I have already told that after the phase 3 trial, they will go for regulatory clearances and then they will be coming to the market. So there are constraints like scaling up the manufacturing, and once their phase 3 trials are over, then they will be going for regulatory authorities, before regulatory authorities to get permission, and then the issue of scaling up manufacturing. Here I can tell with the certitude that we are lucky. We Indians are lucky because India is the biggest manufacturer of all vaccine in the world. So we have the manufacturing ecosystem of vaccines. So many promising vaccines like AstraZeneca, Oxford University, or even Moderna. At least these two are very credible runners. What to say of India's own Covaxin? So they all are going to be manufactured mostly in India. At least Indian requirements will be met by Indian manufacturing sectors. So we are sure that we will be able to get the vaccine access immediately. And our government is very keenly observing the internal infrastructure of production as well as international cooperation. We are the member of the Solidarity Group of WHO. So here, and with regard to therapeutics, there are a lot of repurposing of drugs from hydroxy to Dexa to Remdesivir, and then Febiflu, and then now recently this another drug which is being touted as a very effective is Biocon's drug which is used for psoriasis, etc. So there are a lot of repurposing, and ivermectin. So I can say that a lot of therapeutic treatments are available, but unfortunately there is no precise treatment. When you talk to doctors, they say that they try, once their one model fails, then they try other medicines. So a combination of medicines, combination of therapies are being utilized to cure patient. What to say of plasma therapy? In India, it is showing good results. So with regard to therapeutics, there is also we are in better position as we were in March, because in March only option was hydroxy, but now we have other medicines. And if you see the mortality rates, that is also encouraging. And I don't know what is truth, but the strains of the virus are also being told that they are now weakening, so are the mortality rates. So our doctors are becoming confident. Our health infrastructures have improved. A lot of COVID beds are still vacant. Testing technology, diagnostics has also taken a lot of improvements, and serology tests, etc., are going. So in a way, things are moving in a very, very positive direction. But yes, a lot depends upon the early arrival of treatment drugs or vaccines, because it is the only vaccine which is going to normalize the world. And I pray to the God that let the vaccine be successful, durably, and effective as well. Only vaccines will normalize the world, because people are so much scared that it is affecting the economy very adversely. Even if the government is unlocking, but people are not going to markets, people are not going to tourist spots, people are not going to crowded market, malls, pictures, restaurants, all these, they constitute a very large portion of economy. And then there is a huge adverse impact on social functions, social gatherings, marriages. If you see from Indian perspective, these all are things which actually drive the economy. Now the economy has been reduced to the bare minimum. Nobody is traveling unless it is required. Nobody is using the private transport. Nobody is using trains, planes until it is very essential. Nobody is visiting restaurants. Takeaway is still not a good option. I mean, malls are empty because people can't go and buy dresses, etc., because they are scared of being infected. And this mask and sanitizer kind of situation has made us to remain very much confined to our private spaces, to avoid any accidental or otherwise touches. So the economy is in shambles globally, and it is not going to recover. Schools are closed, online classes are there, but see, there is a limit of virtual interaction and physical interaction. Virtual interaction doesn't give that kind of sensory satisfaction and a kind of emotional satisfaction, the kind of effective understanding of each things. Yes, by virtual meetings through so many platforms, yes, we are doing essential things, but human beings really enjoy doing the things, being in person, being in proximity, and being in fearless proximities, etc., etc. So this is what impacting the economy, and tourism is the worst. So the public transport, so the aviation industry, so the hosiery garment industry, so the automobile industry also, because nobody is going to buy a car in this season, because people are not sure how long this COVID crisis is going to continue. A lot of businesses have gone, lot of manufacturing people have been ruined, and a lot of business activities have stopped. So people are thinking that it is not time to do any major expenditure. Let them hold the money for their existential and necessary things of life. At least this is true with regard to middle class, because everybody is almost scared about the longevity of this crisis, and people are thinking that until the world normalizes, it is very difficult to spend the money which they want to keep it for future safety things, for medicines, for treatments, for essential things, for paying of the fees, paying of the electricity charges, FMCG, and grocery stores, fruits, vegetables. These are the segments which now constitute the major portion of our expenditure, while clothes, etc., they have all been relegated to the very, very essential kind of things, and marriages season, etc., being on hold, social gatherings on hold. So demand for these things have gone further down. So that is the huge impact we could visualize. So now the many talks which are going that yes, manufacturing bases are shifting here and there. This entire process will take at least years to settle down because the labor has been dislocated, the transport system has been dislocated, people are scared. So it's all in a mess now. Now I'm not going to have deviation from in my lecture. So my another thing is that therapeutics and vaccine, these two are dimensions of treatment, are how to address the disease. But there is another dimension which I would like to discuss today, is what Indian Ayurvedic system is precursor of them, is that is the how to boost your immunity and overall health so that your inner body is able to cope with all kind of virus infections or disease which you get from the environment. It's very serious, and here I would like to invite the attention of academia that ultimately vaccine is nothing to give you from outside. It is actually to awaken your inner immunity to fight with the COVID-19. So if we really start brainstorming, so all scientists are of the opinion that not best treatment, best scientific breakthrough will be to develop an effective vaccine. And what is an effective vaccine? It actually awakens your immune system to fight the disease in future. So after taking a round, ultimately again comes the ray of hope from our own inherent immunities. So where from we get these immunities? Next level question starts. There are innate immunities, and then immunities can be supplemented. And it is here the Ayurveda matters. So Ayurvedic Indian system actually takes into consideration a lot of herbs, lot of herbal powders, medicines, liquids, to increase your capacity to fight with the disease. So increasing your vitality, increasing your immunity power is another dimension of the treatment, which where I think that India has no match. Entire Ayurvedic platform of health is basically based on these things. Yesterday I was listening the lecture of Deepak Chopra with regard to his book Meta Humans. So again here it is another thing is that the entire mind body connect and as doctors also tell us that having a long and good sleep, minimum sleep 7-8 hours whatsoever, is very good to build your immunity. So there is a connect of body and mind to develop your vitalities, immunity. And then, extension of that, do the meditation. Meditation resets your mind to zero so that aberrations and other stresses which you have inside get calmed down and your mind goes back to the position where it is supposed to be. So meditation, and then having the positivity of mind, purposefulness of life. Here I would always like to say that purposefulness of life is very important, because the moment we lose the purpose in the life, we start losing the interest in the life. So there has to be some purpose of life. Purposes, we can grade it according to our choices and according to our conviction. Somebody is thinking that if I get 10 more years, I will publish a book. Somebody thinks that I will make more paintings. Somebody says I will make a good house. Somebody says that I will do a lot of public activities. I will do the politics. Somebody says that I will grow in my career. Somebody says that I will relax. Somebody has a purpose that he is going to support the family to settle. So it is the purposefulness of life which gives you strength to live. Therefore, it is always better to have some purpose in the life. But then, having a equilibrium of purpose and capability to fulfill the purpose is always very important, because if we have a mismatching purposes and mismatching under downside capabilities, then most likely we will be stressed, and then it is a counterproductive. So I would always say that have a purpose which is viable, which can be achieved, and then increase your capabilities. Fine, to that extent incremental capabilities and incremental goal enhancements are fine. So I would say that life becomes much more happier when we have a purpose in the life, and purpose in the life can be achieved when we have even if there is no purpose, we have to create a purpose, because a purposeless life is almost a finished life. Then your body stops supporting vitalities of your life. So have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, adopt a purpose. Think that yes, now I have done everything for my life, I have done everything for my family, now I will have my health and I will do something for the common man, poor man. Yes, whatever is I will do tree plantations, I will nurture trees, I will plant 2000 trees every year, I will nurture them, I will help those animals who are injured. I may be looking after some environmental causes, like I will take care of the ponds in my village, I will try to provide a clean water to a poor villager, or I may be educating the people to improve their livelihood possibilities. We can have hundreds of purposes, and it doesn't mean that you have to be very big in economics. Even a small capacity of economics in you can still do lot of good purposes. You can educate. See, life is like that. If you start reducing your economic activities for profit or enhancement, you can reduce it to the extent your food and roti, kapda or makan. But if you start extending roti, there is no limit of roti, there is no limit of kapda, there is no limit of makan. Makan goes to Antalya, roti goes to a 5-star dress dinner, and kapda goes to Armani and all that. So you can finish your whole life earning money and spending on these kind of roti, kapda, makan. But then if you come to bare minimum, 5 rupees bread, 5 rupees roti, and maybe 100, 200, 300, 500 cloth, and maybe a few lakhs house. That's all. So now it is up to you what kind of purpose you decide. If you start developing purpose of life is to enjoy the materialistic fruits of life, then you are bound to be dissatisfied at the end, because you have to have a social purpose of life. When I am talking of the social purpose of life, then means that you have to give something to the society back. If you have that kind of purpose, that will automatically pull you from being your self-centrism to the public centrism. Then you start thinking only of yourself to about others also. Then you don't become selfish. Then you also take care of others. So selfishness is bad. But yes, at any level you have certain individualities. Individualities are okay, but selfishness is not okay. Means whatever I earn, whatever I do, I will do only for myself. I will not return back to the society or nature. Is, I think, that extremely selfishness, and such people can never get happiness in their life. Even if they get the pinnacle of power and money, they will never enjoy that money. Maybe a person with less money and power, with a purpose in the life, will be more happy, will be more enjoying the company of the people than the people with absence of these things. So having a purpose of life is a very important, to enjoy these things, to increase vitalities in your life, so that your body. See, the moment, suppose you help some family which is dying because of not having a proper access to medical facilities, and suppose you just do something by which he or she can get some treatment and her or his life is saved, you have a great purpose. The kind of satisfaction you will derive, you cannot match it from earning billions of dollars, let me tell you. If you are able to give a treatment to an injured bird, and that if you see that bird is flying again in the sky, the kind of satisfaction you will get, you will never get from anywhere. If you are able to plant a tree and it grows and it gives fruit or oxygen or nature friendly things, you will enjoy it like anything. You will see that you have done something for others. We are innately wired to be a philanthropic, to be altruistic, to be a socially giver. We want to develop, not for, we are not actually by nature selfish. We are individualistic to the extent that we also need to survive. We need resources for ourselves. But ultimately we enjoy the sharing of resources. Ultimately we enjoy improving our ethical quotient, improving our social responsibilities, living in a society where we are ready to help and give. We are social animals, and these are activities which actually trigger the kind of hormone in us, and that hormone actually triggers so many complexity of hormones inside, which may be helping so many factors, chemistries in our body, because we all know that we are actually nothing but chemistry machines inside. Our chemistry matters. Our body is nothing but hormone triggered, and hormones are nothing but a product of a state of mind. Why do we need a sleep? To get our state of mind back. So if we have done wrong, if we have deceived anybody, if we have killed anybody, if we have stolen somebody, you have done wrong, ethical wrong, moral wrong, legal wrong, then we actually lose the peace of mind inside. And once we lose our peace of mind inside, then any amount of material resources we possess or have is of no consequence. We will not enjoy that. Maybe being poorer is still sharing and living social, familial responsibility, natural responsibility. We will enjoy more our true selves. So my point is that another aspect during the COVID-19, which we should have realized, and even if we have not realized, we should realize, is that let us be little bit out with regard to our responsibility to the society. Here I am not saying that you become a totally altruistic, all that. No. My point, please identify at least a few things in your life which you can afford to do it socially. At least these things should not be calculated in terms of financial gains, loss, profit, this. You just think that at least this much you can save, and you will like to do like that. So that will give you a purpose. Okay? Just for in my own case, though it's a very it's not desirable to tell personal thing. Like, I have decided that I will make sure that my village pond remains full of water 24/7 into 365 days. For that, I pay the electricity bill of my tube well, and I pay a person. I have kept a servant. I pay him, and his duty is that to fill that pond by the tube well, so that all the animals, birds, insects, who not, they all come and drink a potable water in the pond in front of my house. And I have put even fish etc. in that, so that it creates a kind of a lively ecosystem. So what is the purpose of that? First thing is that it a whole year availability of water to the animals, especially the cattle. Lot of animals in the June or May month, when there is summer is very hot, and since in the villages people have ruined the ponds, they have cultivated all these lands, and ponds are dry because the water level going down, and nobody is caring to fill them. I deliberately decided at least this I can afford. So what I decided, okay, let me do. So whatever 1 or 2,000 rupees I can spare from my salary and other savings, I invest there every month. Some people may laugh at me, many villagers say that he is wasting money. For me, it is not the wastage of money. For me, it is actually living my actual sense of giving something. And then another thing, I mean, why I cited this example only to say that philanthropy or altruism doesn't mean big things. Forming NGO, taking grants, giving like the fine. You are doing fine, but I don't want to make it a tax benefit or institutionalize all these things. I am simply doing it for my own passion. And when I see that, when I imagine that, see, there is no water, almost 1 and 2 kilometers, and a cattle or a cow left over in fields, maybe coming and drinking water in my pond because I have filled it in the hottest season. I get satisfaction. Because water is a problem because in agricultural field water is mixed with fertilizers and pesticides. So cattle cannot drink that water. Ponds are dry. Where the cattle will get water? Where the birds will get water? Either they are forced to drink that polluted water in the fields with the fertilizers and manures and pesticides, or they should be dying out of water. So my purpose was that why don't this I can do. So I adopted this thing to do. So I am doing. So my point is that let us have a purpose always in the life. Purposefulness is actually an enhancer of happiness. So with regard to COVID, I will always say that have a positivity of mind and take a lot of immunity building herbs, herbal things, Dabur and all, Ramdevji, Patanjali, Baidyanath, and so many very credible companies are there. They provide us a lot of nutrients, a lot of micronutrients, the micro immunity boosters. These all are should be taken, of course, with the advice of an expert and to an extent where they are helpful us. And then we should always think life in totalities. Let us not become a man of career only, a man of profession only. We are human beings for whom everything matters. Family matters, profession matters, passion matters, society matters, and then our altruism matters. So once you start living your inner self in 360 degree, just living your profession and forgetting and sacrificing the other corner of your mind is not a balanced life. I always say live a balanced life. Balanced life is not only in one aspect. Your mind is having a compartments of all these things. It has a different corner for your family. It has a different corner for your body. It has a different corner for your friends. It has a different corner for your society. It has a different corner for professionalism. It has a different corner for being creative. If you don't live all these corners, then you are not doing justice to your mind. And believe me, mind-body justice, mind-body relationship is very important for our good health. So take care of yourself, have a good health, be positive, and just think that these bad days are going to pass soon. Maybe 1 or 2 months we will be surely getting a vaccine. Therapeutic may come earlier. Till that time, your positive mind, your immunity building exercises, your state of mind is going to help you a lot. God bless you. Thank you very much.